What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 47 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they defeat the Montreal Canadiens here tonight 7-3, moving to 29-16-2 on the season, and 7 unanswered goals with maybe the best line of the night. I got a comment in reply to us tweeting that we were going live here. Alex Del Toro: last time I saw 7 unanswered numbers was when I called an ex-girlfriend for a booty call in the 80s. There you go. That is the line of the night here so far. We'll break this one down. We'll be joined by Nick Alberga in a moment. And as we get to that and we break this game down, we go through our best bet and a whole lot more. You guys know this is a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today. Bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And with that, let's bring him to the show here. The man himself almost didn't make it to the show here tonight. I almost didn't make it to the show here tonight based on the way the first period went. But Nick Alberga, how's it going here tonight?
I am fantastic. Yes, that is true. Admittedly, I was supposed to guest in this show. I pulled shoot at a long night, just was absolutely floored and pinned up against it last night. I was telling Zack off air, I lost my jacket, lost my condo keys. It was that type of night. And then I woke up with the worst hangover of all time. But you know what? I feel uplifted. I feel rejuvenated anytime. And for some of you who know this, I'm from Montreal and I hate the Montreal Canadiens. Anytime the Leafs can beat the Montreal Canadiens on Hockey Night in Canada, I will always be in a good mood, buddy.
Do you take a lot of flack for being from Montreal?
Yes.
Because I didn't really know that was the case. And then one time I saw, I think maybe you said on the morning show something about it, how you're like, oh yeah, I don't really get back there much often. I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm surprised that this guy doing all the Leaf stuff does not take more shit publicly, but you do.
Yeah, it's funny how it worked out too, because we moved here when I was 5 to the Oakville area. My dad was a big time Montreal Canadiens fan growing up, but luckily I didn't live there long enough to catch on with that shitty ass hockey team. But yeah, there is a lot of bickering back and forth with the family, and I'm telling you, man, this one feels good. All I've been hearing for the last 3 weeks is that Montreal's winning the cup. They're going to make the playoffs. That team, they're a bunch of frauds. I think they're better. But I think they proved tonight that they played an elite team in the Maple Leafs and couldn't find a way to shut them down. Pretty much what happened, right? You score 3 straight goals and then 7 unanswered goals. I still can't believe what transpired in that game, Zack.
I can't either. I tweeted it out, and honestly, we can't dance around this one. We got to break down everything that went on. Based on the first period, did it not feel like this thing might have been like a complete washing by the Habs here against the Leafs tonight? At a point there, I was watching going, and we talk about it during the game. We text each other back and forth, and it was like, can't get up for a rival. Saturday night, hockey night in Canada. You don't start on time. It looked like the Leafs might have had a bigger night last night in Montreal than maybe you did here downtown Toronto. And it's like there was just no intensity, no fire. They didn't show up. All of a sudden, end of the first period, Ryan Reaves goes to fight Alberga, and he says, look at the scoreboard. And next thing you know, the game flips on its head. What the hell happened there from first period to the second, where all of a sudden in the second period you come out with some jump and it's a completely different team? Completely. That was you basically watched 2 games in one there, from first to second and third period.
It really, again, there's so many adjectives to describe the array of emotions transpired tonight in Montreal. Just befuddling is the first word that comes to mind. And, in our dealings over the last year or so working together, I'm pretty level-headed when it comes to the regular season. I don't blow a gasket. I was ready to come on this show and Leafs Morning Take on Monday and just rip this team a new ass, because I don't know what the fuck that was in the first period. It was mind-numbingly bad, where they couldn't even string a pass together, whereas a collective unit outside of Joseph Woll, they were so disinterested in playing hockey. But luckily, whatever transpired in the first intermission, they woke up in the second and got really, really cooking in the third period. We've seen this rodeo before. Hell, we saw it the other night against the New Jersey Devils, where it's like the Leafs start to play hockey and they start to have some will in their game, desperation and urgency, all the buzzwords, different hockey club. And I think to an extent we saw that in this game. And again, to beat a red hot Montreal team, Zach, who had won 11 of 14 games before this one, like that's a pretty big win in my world.
I agree 100%. It's a pretty big win from that. And it's a pretty big win, too, because I think the conversation here tonight could have been, you just basically buried everything that you accomplished on Thursday night where, yeah, execution maybe wasn't there to the degree that you needed, but you played Sheldon, Keefe, and the Devils. They come to town. It's going to be a big one. He wants that bad. The Devils are going to want it for him. And it looked like maybe that thing could have gotten kind of out of hand, especially you look at, let's take a look at the deserve to win a meter after. Not great in the Leafs' favor after, but no. They still find a way to win it. I thought effort level was there, which is something we hadn't really seen for 10 to 15 games. And then here tonight, I'm watching that one going, holy shit, we're going to have a conversation about where these guys went. And we can talk about that first period, but what transpires into the second and third was the big boys showing up, and it was a lot of William Nylander, who's been MIA for about 15 games, and Austin Matthews, and the guy who I think was probably the best Leaf here tonight, and maybe the reason this all started, Bobby McMahon. They basically said, fuck you, we're turning this thing around, and we're not going down without a fight, and then they score 7 unanswered here tonight. I don't know what transpired, like you said, but, this is a big win. This is a big win. Habs fans can spin this one any way they want and turn around and let's say, oh, Nick and Zack talking about this one, big win. Oh, we're at the bottom here. Yeah, you were down 3-0 in the first period against a red hot team in their barn, and you flipped the script on them and you said, fuck you. That's an unbelievable way to go about this game here tonight. I'm kind of curious, though, is there a guy, a moment, something that happened here tonight that makes you look at this and say, that was the turning point. That's what that was the catalyst for this thing turning around for this Leafs team.
Yeah, a few different ones stood out for me. You referenced it. Weirdly enough, it was the non-fight where for the first time, I think visibly this season, Ryan Reaves, at least we saw it on the screen, asked somebody to go, and it was our Jack guy. And I get it. He declined. I always get a chuckle when guys point at the scoreboard. It makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to rip on Jack guy. I think he's a hell of a player. Really, tough player, good fighter. He rocked Reaves later on in the game as well. But I thought that was a pretty polarizing moment because I thought the Leafs started to get some juice out of that. And then the other one clearly was the 2-on-1 and Christian Dvorak goes off the crossbar, and then they come back the other way, and Bob McMahon starts to come back. If you don't get that post and you don't get a couple of those saves from Joseph Woll, you were cooked. That game was completely over. So those are the two that stood out for me. How about you?
The big one for me was obviously that moment where it kind of maybe galvanized the guys in the locker room of Jack guy saying, look at the scoreboard. They came out for the second period too, by the way. And I think it was in the second period where Reaves gets rocked by Jack guy and starts at that and is kind of oh, this is going to be embarrassing. And very quickly they shut that down somehow, honestly. And it's twisted to think this way, but I feel like that might have sparked the group. You saw Ryan Reaves get obliterated open ice. You're getting embarrassed. You're getting booed every time Matthews and Nylander touch the puck. It's loud in there. And then that happens. There was a play where Austin Matthews jumps down in the forecheck and lays a hit on, I think it might have been Courier in the corner. I could be wrong about who the guy was, but he jumps in on the play, delivers that, and then I'm watching McMahon go in there hard on the forecheck and start to make the life of the defenseman living hell, basically. Seemed like it kind of changed the dynamic of the game for this team where you started to head back in the direction of Craig Berube hockey. It didn't fully get there, but you started to move that way after the first period because we watched for a long time here now. And when I say long time, I'm talking weeks, Nick. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but it felt like this team lost its identity. Not struggling to find it, lost, gone. And then it's after that first period, we started to move back in the right direction. I don't know if you're kind of on the same page of that one.
Yeah, I feel like in general they're just missing like that piss and vinegar, that jam, right? Like this is not the toughest team in the league, but the way they played at bits and pieces in the first half of the year, you're like, man, like they're playing with some balls. They're playing Craig Ruby hockey. They're being physical. The after the whistle skirmishes have gone away. Like it just every game and every shift has blended into each other, and I think that's concerning. And I think naturally leaving this game tonight, first and foremost, great. You score 7 unanswered goals, 7 different goal scorers. You come back. Joe Wall was great. So many positives. How do you build upon this is my question moving forward. How do you find that consistency? Because again, it is what it is, but that first period in my world was unacceptable. Like, I don't know how you don't show up, start on time, hockey day in Canada. You're playing the Montreal Canadiens. They're red hot. Like every reason to be ready for that hockey game. And Zack, again, that was like 2.5 hours ago. I have no clue what happened, what these guys were thinking. Like they couldn't even string a pass together. How do you go from, I think that's the question in Leafs Nation. How do you go from witnessing what we saw there in the first period to the third period where they had the puck all period and like every shot went in? Like it makes no sense. And that's why a level of it excites you, because you see the potential when these guys actually start playing hockey the way they did in the third period here.
Yeah, excites you and frustrates you. Like,
yeah,
that's infuriating as a Leafs fan,
yeah.
but also like, yeah, that's unbelievable. It's like we watched maybe one of the worst periods of hockey this team has played. I mean, there's a couple of,
it was awful,
like Columbus and stuff, but it's egregious. It's not necessarily even just effort. It's like, can't find guys, not looking. That first line, the first line in the first period, they look like they crossed the blue line into their own zone and like their heads were cut off. Like you're just seeing them all standing around. These are, mind you, some of the best defensive players in the NHL, Marner and Matthews, and they were just lost. Parade to the penalty box, penalty kills getting scored on. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? And find a way out of that one. I got a couple of comments here for you, and we'll get to some stuff. So I have a couple things in the chat, but something just popped up on my phone, and I think you'll like this. I don't know how big of a fan you are of expected goals and percentages.
I love them.
Okay.
Love them.
Yeah. Ryan Reaves finishes the game with an 89.47 expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5. The highest amongst Maple Leafs. Highest among Maple Leafs versus the Canadiens.
Dude,
that's courtesy of Nick
How
Barden.
are these people making 6 figures or whatever they're making? Maybe they're making more. Like you're seriously telling me, because I was actually going to come on here and be like, I'm the biggest backer of Ryan Reaves. He is fighting it. Like
I love
fighting
him.
it. Yeah. He's not doing anything out there. He's not fighting. This guy is employed to drop the gloves, and he is not fighting. He's not known for his skills. Okay. I don't want to chirp the guy. I love Ryan Reaves. He came on our show. Yeah. Like, I love the guy. I think he's so great for that room. If you go to the game and he's not playing, you see him on the big screen. He does his like pregame with the team still. Like they love him, but he's not good enough to be in this lineup right now. And hearing that stat is unbelievable, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I got a message from someone. I will not name who it was. They sent me a chart after the second period, and it was 5-on-5. Leaf line stats, 5-on-5 play. McMahon, Domi, and Nylander had a 17.7% expected goals percentage after the second period. And the message I received in regards to this one, I love expected goals charts, all that shit, but what the fuck is this? Throwing out an 18% chart for the McMahon line? Yeah, Domi has sucked for sure, but what the fuck is this guy watching?
I rather do anything in this world than sit at home and try to create some fancy smancy chart. I rather be pinned on King Street West at Greta Bar. I'm just going to put it out there. So again, that's rate in one year, out the other year. Yeah. The Leafs won. I could tell you because they scored 7 goals. The opposition scored 3. I don't need this expected bullshit. But yeah, that's big story for me. The depth scoring and the big boys again, like proving why you pay these guys that money. It's the regular season again. So you got to condition yourself. It's the regular season. I get it. These guys are regular season performers. They have been, but they just rose to the occasion. Like I think it shows you even watching that game, like Laine Hudson is getting a lot of praise and he might win the Calder Trophy, but he looked like a boy trying to chase Willie Nylander on that break where he just shrugged him off, like, get the fuck off me. And then he scores a goal like that. It just shows you how difficult it is to bring it on a nightly basis in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a guy, Blake Brim, here in the chat, all caps, Laine Hudson -5, ha 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 ha. So there you
I
go.
saw that.
Leafs fans are
Yeah.
having fun with that one. Also, some other stuff in the chat. We'll get to the super chats, but quickly, Mario Valella, Nick, where Nick is Zach's boss. Snake Plissken, Nick owns Zach. So
What is that? I was reading that too. I don't understand what that
I
was
don't know.
about. Were
I
we
don't know what
debating
happened.
anything?
I don't know what happened. But
Daddy?
let's get to a couple of super chats here in the chats, and Sick Kids charity partner this here on the show.
Dude, somebody, rightfully so, we're getting to this super chat support of Sick Kids, but somebody did chirp me about being a grown-ass man who lost his jacket and his condo keys, and it's exactly what I said to Zack before I came on this show. I was like, I am 35 years old. I got to wake up tomorrow and make some life changes, I think.
I also was not going to air you out on that one.
It's fine. I'm an idiot. I love playing the pity party. You know that. I feel bad for myself for like 2 seconds, and I move on with life. Shit happens, okay? Leafs won. Fuck Montreal.
We got a bunch of super chats here, so we'll run through some of these. But one core 15-1-4. I don't know, prayer hands. Joe Wall, hot emoji, fire emoji, brain exploding emoji. Look at the board now, Wi-Fi. Bunch of fingers pointing. I don't got anything else to add to that one, but thank you for the super chat there. Maxentius Decimus, 7 different goal scorers. Wild game, Wall first star. 7 different goal scorers is pretty nuts. I mean, run down the score here of this one. Kampf, empty netter there, obviously. Lorentz gets on the board. Matthews, McMahon, Nylander, Robertson, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. One of the things that I've been talking about with this group over some of the, more so when things have been going well than maybe when we've been in this slump of hockey I don't want to talk about. But one thing that's been kind of nice is even in some of these games, you're getting contributions from your lower end guys, and it's maybe not as consistent as we would like it to be, but I think it's a little bit of a change of pace from where we've seen it in years past, where it's like those guys are basically out there doing cardio. Like they go out there for a skate, and, you know, we get to hear all the numbers boys being like, yeah, this is why you put them in the bottom 6 because their expected goals are unbelievable, and then they kill penalties. It's like, whoop-de-fucking-do. They don't do anything else offensively for us. Like, they're just out there. Now you get Nick Robertson, who we have both been hard on this season, and there's still more I want from the guy, but scoring some goals. 8 goals here now from him on the year. You get Steven Lorentz chipping in. David Kampf, mind you, it's an empty netter. He still scored the goal. And guess what? The bigger story for me here tonight, Nick, would be Oliver Ekman-Larsson scoring. And I can't even put it simpler than putting the puck on net. Imagine that fucking concept. You shoot the puck, it might go in the net.
It's wild. I still lose my shit when I see that 5-forward power play set, but I will say this is one of their better outings. Granted, the one power play goal came like a second before the penalty was ending, and they scored 2 power play goals in this one, right? I lost track because they scored so many goals tonight. But yeah, like that. And again, we've talked about simplicity. Yeah, the Leafs 2 for 4 on the power play in this game. We've talked about simplicity, and it's easy for us to say. We're just here on YouTube. Obviously, you and Rosie played the game at a high level. But it never, like Don Cherry always said, put the puck on net. Like, it is so true. Even the way they score that Ekman-Larsson goal, where it's like you create havoc in front of Montembeault, cause a stir. It might have hit Pacioretty, might have hit a defenseman. Like that's how you score in the playoffs. Like I'm always subscribing to the fact that like no shot is a bad shot. Like I'd rather have volume over like quality, because again, sometimes they're victim of trying to be too pretty there.
I agree. I just thought about this when you said that. I know shot is a bad shot. Do you want to hear a funny story? This is not Leafs related.
Yeah, let's hear it.
No disrespect to the guy. He was a nice guy. My coach.
You know what's funny when you say no disrespect? It means like we actually are trying to disrespect them. I feel that way all the time.
Okay, listen to the story and you'll get where I'm going with this. My first year of midget hockey, the coach, he was dedicated to the game, but I don't know how much he had to offer is, I guess, the way to put it. And we were struggling to score. Okay, so this is probably through like the first 5 to 10 games of the season. We're struggling to score. And in practice one time, I swear to God, he goes, dead serious. He's like, we need to be shooting 50 to 60 shots on goal a game. And we're like, what the fuck? And he goes, we're like, dude, we can't even like generate 30. How are we going to get 50 to 60? He goes, you cross center ice, everything goes on net. So we would be doing breakout drills. You cross center ice on the breakout, and he would just start screaming, shoot, shoot, shoot. I'm like,
You're kidding me.
Like, what? So then we go into a game, and one game, this is maybe 4 or 5 games after this happens. We go into the game. I get a pass from a guy coming off the wall. I'm playing center. I'm swinging through the middle. I get the pass from the guy. I go out up the wall. I'm kind of like just cross center, and I go and fire it in on the goalie. But like I'm dumping it to change. Like my line's going for a change. And I fire it on the goalie, and he misses, and it goes over his glove. And all you hear from in the arena is my coach go, that's Waxers hockey. That's why we shoot the fucking puck. I'm like,
my God.
Dude, no.
Minor league coaching is something special. Like to that extent, I had an infamous coach playing rep baseball growing up. And of course, his kid was on the team. And dude, I've never been so irritated by one man in my life that this guy fled the city after that year. Like he never returned, never heard from his kid again. His kid was a lefty. Right. And this is like a rep baseball team. He was a lefty. Have you ever seen a left-handed shortstop?
No.
Put his son at short. He's a lefty.
Okay.
Put him at leadoff hitter. It was like his son was okay, but like I sort of felt bad for him because obviously you're gonna like hate him because you hate the coach. But it was like it's like, how did this guy get this job coaching rep? Like was always my question. And then he would just he would do the weirdest things, man, like sit our best players. Like he had a bone to pick with somebody or a lot of players on that team. But that made me think of that, man.
Yeah, sorry, that was off topic, but it just thought about it.
Whatever.
I'm like, shoot, everything.
Leafs win.
Another super chat here from this one. Producer Vic with the super chat. 50 likes, and I'll have a dart while Zack does the smelling salts. Well, we've got to 65 likes here on the stream. Nick, I'm sure you could use some of these. These are the smelling salts. I got a new bottle on the way, and I ordered some for Vic. I can order some for you if you want here too. But
yeah, do it up. Actually, I took a whiff at Beer League Puck on Sunday. My buddy had it in his bag. Matt Bertrand, who actually watches our content, and I said Zach Phillips is the guy that you need to endorse this product. We got to get a sponsorship with them, man.
I know I do it enough, and then when we get to the goddamn playoffs, I'm doing it like 4 times a freaking show. So might as well have someone have it on there. But there you go, Vic. Go have your dart.
Dirt.
Here's some more stuff to get to that's on the serious side, and actually back to the game. And I don't want to hold you forever, so we'll get back to this.
That's fine.
And then I'll let you. I don't know. Let the people know what's the plans for us tonight. Are you trying to recover? Like what happens for
buddy.
Nick Alberga the rest?
Buddy, I just like full emo mode today. Like anybody who's lost, like I lost my condo keys. I lost my wicked ass winter jacket. I think it's great. The fact that it's supposed to get really cold overnight and be minus 20 this entire week. And all I have is a pea coat now, but it stings, man. I am defeated. But again, as I mentioned, I feel very uplifted to come on this show, work with you tonight. But for the Leafs to beat the Montreal Canadiens, man, it just, there's no better feeling. And to score 7 unanswered goals the way they did and in the capacity they did against the red hot Canadiens team, I feel much better. Yeah, I'm pissed off at myself, but the sun will come up tomorrow, buddy. So we'll be okay. How about you? Going out? You getting pinned tonight or what?
Watching the fights, having some drinks, and we'll see where it goes from there. But
if people wanted an indication of where I was at, last night, me and Zach were texting back and forth. I said, hey, meet me at Greta. Like we were planning to go to Greta. And I sent a text that didn't make sense. So that's at the level I was at last night. Yeah.
I said, call me when you go there. And I get a text that just made no sense. I was like, I think I'm gonna pass.
To break this story down even more, I somehow took somebody else's jacket from this bar, like left, got home, and then realized like in the morning that like I don't know, like I had a bunch of things in my pockets too. Like you think it would have clued in, but I was so pinned. Couple shots of tequila will do that to you. So you roll on with life. Again,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
there's no point in dwelling on the past. We move forward. I'm
Yes.
moving forward to the Tampa game on Prime on Monday, and feeling much better than I did like 4 hours ago. Because on top of that, again, the hangover was really really bad today. Felt like crap. Got some food in me. Got a Maple Leafs victory under my belt, so we're feeling good. But yeah, overall, those are my takeaways, Zach. The turning point we talked about, the depth scoring, always great to see that. I have in my notes, Ryan Reaves stinks. I love Revo. His game's not where it needs to be if he can stay in this lineup. Like, I think
Yeah.
there's been bits and pieces earlier this year, last year, where he was actually bringing something. Like, he can't even corral a puck. Like, I don't know if you saw in the first period,
Oh, it's
puck
bad
came
right
to him
now.
around the boards and he couldn't even corral it. And I think Montreal came back on a 2-on-1. Like, you just,
Yep.
for that level of hockey, I don't care if it's the fourth line. You have to have somebody in there who can actually like make plays. And right now, it's not happening. But I don't know if you feel the same way. But the bottom six right now, I would love to add like two guys. Like I'm not a big fan of like there's not much like depth to it outside of like Steven Lorentz. Like I want some more jam
Yeah.
from the bottom six. And a lot of the guys are undersized right now. Like Max Domi, I know he's a feistier guy per se, but he's smaller. Nick Robertson's smaller. Like I want some bite to that lineup because I think that's how you're gonna maybe be more successful in the playoffs. And I think it's a team wide thing too. Like they haven't been as physical as they were maybe in the first 25, 30 games too.
Agreed. And I mean, to the point of adding guys and what you're going to add, because I've got people asking here, especially over the
Yeah.
last little while, like the post game shows have been like, who do we trade for show every single fucking night. But
Yeah, I get it.
yeah, which makes sense. But the way that I've been looking at it here, and I think it's not so much like, oh, you need to add, scoring or size or like one like specifically. The way I'm kind of approaching it is you need to make the bottom six versatile. Like, tell me that Pontus Holmberg, David Kampf, and Connor Dewar aren't the same guy. This is a carbon copy, like the same guy, like, you know what I mean? And yeah, they all do something like this much different, but I'd rather versatility. I don't want to put the same guys out there all together. So I'd rather someone get thrown in. That's why, I mean, I said to you guys, I heard you talking about it on the morning show, like Brendan Tanev to me is a guy that makes sense. You've talked about Yanni Gord, producer Vic's horny for Brock Nelson. I think those guys are different than
I like
what you
Jake
have.
Evans too. We saw Evans tonight, man.
Look good tonight too. Yeah, look good tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you with one more super chat here,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit of a bigger picture conversation. Greg McMullen, I'll enjoy this win, but my God, some nice saves. I don't want to see this type of defense come April. So that was kind of the way I looked at the game, or one of the things I was looking at with this game was there's two sides. We're very happy that you walk away with this win and that you find a way and you turn it around and you dig down and say, we're not losing this one. We're finding a way out of it. And a lot of it has to do with Nylander all of a sudden coming alive and Matthews saying, I'm in this one physically. I'm going to score a big goal, like those kinds of things. But there still is an issue here with the defense kind of being loose a little bit, lackadaisical maybe, if that's a better term for it. But when you look at this group, I mean, how much stock are you putting into the fact that the defense has kind of, I don't want to say like disappeared, but just not being as good. Yeah, like it's just not being what it was to start the year. And obviously we started being like, well, we can't score goals, but at least we can play defense. Now we're kind of on the other side. Like, what are you making in the defensive play? Is it a concern big picture for you?
Now that you bring that up, I think, we could really benefit from like those 2 weeks off in the Four Nations. It's Toronto's blue line. Like they got some guys who have played some heavy minutes, OEL, Morgan Riley, Jake McCabe. Like those guys have been taxed. And I do firmly believe, I think this team needs at least one more defenseman, if not two. I think there's obviously been some blemishes. We even saw it tonight with like a Phil Myers who, for a good chunk of that game, they went with 5 defensemen. I don't know what the hell he was doing on that. I think it was the Anderson goal. Like it was like the parting of the sea. I hated that too. 9 seconds later, like that first period, I don't want to think about it ever again, pretty much. But I think those guys will benefit from the time off. There are some veterans. There is concern. Like I'll be honest, because Morgan Riley has been pegged as the number one defenseman. And right now, I would argue maybe he's like the number 4 defenseman. I think that's,
I would agree.
I think in a perfect world, Oliver Ekman-Larsson's better suited to be a 5'6" guy. So I think like if you can do it, one more top 4 defenseman, I think you're in business. I think this team's already in business, but it never hurts to have a lot of D, come the playoffs and post deadline.
Dude, Ekman-Larsson on your 5'6" makes that a lethal 5'6".
Yeah.
Like, that's hard to deal with for other teams. To the point of Myers, I was writing an article about him to go out on the LeafsNation.com for tomorrow, and he didn't come back.
He's great.
First, and I was like, dude, what the fuck?
Was he benched? Like, is that what happened?
I don't know. He just didn't, like, I didn't see him again. I'm like, oh my God, just cast the article.
Pacioretty, like I didn't notice Pacioretty in the third period either. He played 10-19. Myers played 8-14.
Well, he also had the half cage or whatever on in the.
Dude, that was tough. And then like what's really weird about that is like they didn't blow the whistle. Pacioretty somehow got off the ice and they scored like 30 seconds later.
I know. Nuts.
It's a weird game sometimes.
Yeah. Anything else to add here, Nick, for tonight?
Not really. Feeling better. I appreciate the support in the chat. It was a rough 24 hours for yours truly to cap it off with a win against the Montreal Canadiens, score 7 unanswered goals. Laine Hutson's a -5.
Yeah.
Laine scored whatever. So did Poppy. Feeling better, but consistency is the name of the game. I want to see like a complete effort on Monday against Tampa. I won't lie, already scared shitless about that game against Columbus. That's your classic trap game. They do not play that team very well, but one at a time here, Zach.
Yep. All right, Nick, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it, and appreciate you battling through what you've been dealing with throughout the course of the day here. Hopefully we can get you a new jacket. You know what? I'm getting a new jacket, so maybe I can give you the one I've currently got. Maybe we could do a swap.
We're being too kind here. Well, what are the chances? What are the chances I get a DM like tomorrow? Because I did go back to this bar to find my jacket. It wasn't there. By the way, I believe in good karma. The jacket, when I went back today, I'm an idiot. I went back wearing the jacket and I like walked there. So I wear the jacket. I show up. My jacket's not there. And so I was like, okay, I should be a good Samaritan because maybe somebody like me will come back and be like, I lost my jacket. So I left the jacket there.
Wow.
That's a good karma, right? Like
that's good karma. That's why the Leafs
feel like tonight. I get a message tomorrow and it's like we found your jacket, Nick. And I'd feel so good about life because I'm up against it right now. I'm just gonna sit down and watch maybe JT Miller's last game as a Canuck.
Yeah, honestly, the reports that came out there from Elliot during that intermission before the game were pretty interesting. But Nick, thanks as always for doing this. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Recover, relax. You're gonna wake up. We're going to manifest it here as a chat. You're going to wake up and there's going to be a message. Got your jacket. Keys are in it. Come pick it up anytime.
What? Oh, man. I would just feel so great about life. I know a lot of people were asking about the picture of my background. I like to, leave hints. That's our fearless leader, Amel Delic, formerly of Sportsnet, now with the Nation Network, making his first ever appearance, at least on air here on the Leafs Nation After Dark. So thank you for your time tonight, Zach.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it as always. There you go. Nick Alberga, Leafs Morning Take, and quite frequently here on Leafs Nation After Dark to help us break everything down. Thanks to Nick, as always, for doing this here. We are almost at 100 likes here on the stream tonight. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. Post-game live shows, reactions, breakdowns, injury updates, rumors, news, trades, all of that stuff is happening right here on this channel. Myself, Nick, Rosie, Carter Hutton, producer Vic jumping in here now for the post-game shows. We've got plenty of people coming through. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to you guys in the chat. That's all for Nick Alberga here tonight. We've got plenty more show left to go. And if anybody wants to call in before we get out of here and wrap this thing up and get to our final segments, as I do have some stuff that I want to kind of dig into and get to on the show here tonight, before we get to any of that, I will send a link, and if people want to call in, it will be live there in the chat. So you guys can call into the show. You don't have to come on camera like Nick did and give us your thoughts on tonight's game, how you're feeling about this Leafs team, whatever it may be. Obviously, here as well, I think it should go without saying, keep it appropriate, keep it respectful to people in the chat, to the people at the Leafs Nation, and obviously to the team here. We're just trying to have a respectful, fun conversation about what's going on with Leafs Nation here at this current moment in time. If that is not abided by and people can't respect that, you will be auto booted. So if you want to if you want to call into the show here, I will pin it to the top of the live chat. You can click on that and call in and give your thoughts. If not, it is what it is. I've got some more thoughts to get to here tonight. 10 more likes here as well. Nick mentioned it though, and it's something, it's somewhere I'm going a lot, somewhere I may end up here tonight after this show, quite honestly, and that would be Greta Bar YYZ. If you guys have not already heard about it, I don't know what you've been doing. I don't know if you're sleeping under a rock. It's somewhere I go a lot. Nick goes a lot. Producer Vic is heading out to a lot, and it's because Greta Bar is an unbelievable establishment and located right downtown Toronto, 590 King Street West. Greta Bar is an unbelievable spot, whether it is games, street food, bars, a large space to hang out. One of the things that I think is always interesting is people who are into like the club scene and people who are really kind of fired up to get out there and sweat and bump bodies and have to scream at people and have to be screamed at to hear anyone. That's not really my vibe, and that's why Greta Bar is the perfect place for me. There's 2 floors in there, downtown Toronto. There's arcade games everywhere. My favorite game to play, either the Connect 4 basketball downstairs or the air hockey that's going on upstairs. I kicked producer Vic's ass at that, and he has been demanding a rematch. I'm kind of debating just holding on to it and saying, no shot. You're out to lunch, buddy. Good luck getting this back. But for the time being, I'm the reigning champion against producer Vic in air hockey, I believe. He might have something to say in the chat there. Just disregard whatever it is. Make sure to head on over to Greta Bar. Weekly drink specials. Greta Bar is the place to be. 590 King Street West. Greta Bar. Let the games begin. All right. More stuff to get to here on the show tonight before we continue on, as I'm seeing a bunch of people in the chat there are kind of talking about the Canucks game, and Billy T asking, you going to go looking for Nick's jacket? No, I'm not. I'm not going to be going and looking for Nick's jacket. That is... I told him, hopefully we find it. I think that's the most support I'm going to give him here, unfortunately. Love the guy, appreciate him, enjoy going out with him. The jacket thing, come on. You figure that one out. Fix that. Find it. But anyways, let's get to some more stuff here tonight. I wanted to touch on some things. We kind of went over some of the generic topics of the show, of the game here tonight with Nick. Let's kind of unpack everything that went on here. And if people want to call in again, you're more than welcome to click that link. But the start of the game is still concerning. And I know how the game finished, and I'm not going to go down a negative path. I just want to point it out because to start the game the way that you did here tonight, quite honestly, is pretty unacceptable. I'm extremely happy and pumped up that they were able to turn this thing around and had right for a comeback. 7 unanswered goals here tonight. 7 different goal scorers, as pointed out by Max Entius Decimus. But we cannot allow that first period and that start to kind of get lost in all of this if you're the team. As a fan base, sure, I'm okay with burying this one and saying, forget it. But I'm just pointing out, if you're the guys in that room, the coaching staff, whatever, you got to look at that one and you can't burn the tapes. It needs to be something that is pumped into that locker room and shown, this is what happens when you don't play Maple Leafs hockey. This is what happens when you don't play the way that you know how to play. And then the second and the third period should then be pumped in after, over and over. Once they sit there, and they've got the clips, those like old, the videos, like the people with their eyes being held open watching tape. This is what every guy in that locker room needs to do. And they need to watch that first period, every shift, second, whatever, from the first period, and just understand how bad that was and where everything went and why things went wrong for them. And then play them the second and third period and be like, do you see the difference? Because that was 2 different teams. Quite often we talk about the Leafs, Jekyll and Hyde. Oh, you went from You went from this group and playing down and not being engaged with it, and then going to the next game and having a completely different team. This was that, but in one game. Like, you had a complete different execution, drive, intensity, engagement from period 1 to period 2. Period 1, I watched this team and thought, they don't want to hit, they don't want to be hit, they won't go to the net, like none of that. And then second period, oh my God, who are we watching? Because it was all of a sudden Berube's old Leafs came out. I don't know if it was him that read riot act in the room, if Matthews stepped up, whatever. I'm going to still wait for quotes and comments to come out post-game here tonight to see what the players have to say, what Berube has to say, which I'm hoping that people will continue to send here throughout the stream, because people in the chat do that a lot, which is honestly very helpful. But you turned it around. Like, someone or something had to break, and someone had to have said something and said, enough's enough. We cannot be doing this anymore. Because that start to the second period, there was like a moment where it was a lapse, and we saw Reaves get blown up, and then it was balls to the wall, like a complete overhaul of what happened. Salil Serene says Leafs won for 3 reasons. Wall had horseshoes up his ass, 2, puck luck, and 3, Monty had an off night. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to assume that Salil is a Habs fan, because if you had any idea what happened in this game tonight, you would understand that those things were wrong. One, yeah, okay, Wall had some lucky saves, but the guy was lights out. Like, the guy was unbelievable. Yeah, lucky save on the one that hits his stick. But the other ones, getting across and making unbelievable toe saves in the first period there to make sure that thing was not 5-6-0 at the end of 20 minutes. That was Joseph Woll keeping this game alive for this Leafs team, as crazy as that is to say, down 3-0. Like, there were periods where that thing could have easily gotten out of hand within the first 20, and Joseph Woll just refused to let it happen. That was one thing for the first period, and he maintained that in the second period, even though the Leafs alleviated some of the pressure, and he maintained that in the third period there, especially in a situation where you're up 1, you're up 2, or even at points in a tie game where you're having plenty of opportunities for the Habs. Again, back to the point of Leafs still need to tidy up some stuff defensively, but Joseph Woll was making saves when it mattered, and that is a big thing, and it wasn't all luck. Honestly, I would fight against that. 2, puck luck, Salil says. I mean, we're going to pick this one apart here, Salil. I'm sorry, but I mean, you're definitely a Habs fan with that comment, so with those, we're going to go on to this. Puck luck. Puck luck. We're talking about puck luck here. Like, puck luck goes all over the ice. It applies to everyone in these situations and in games like this. Everyone was experiencing puck luck. There was no bad puck luck for the Habs. Like, what was bad puck luck that was going on? William Nylander drawing penalties against Dvorak because, you know, he's too strong and getting around and just dominating possession in the offensive zone? Or how about him on Laine Hutson, making Laine Hutson look like he's back at Boston playing in NCAA right again, because it was a grown man against a boy going on that breakaway, just shrugging him off, going in alone against Montembeault and dancing the guy out of his jock. It was Austin Matthews, the best goal scorer in the NHL, beating Montembeault from the high slot, point blank. Like, these are not puck luck things. This is the Leafs doing things with intensity and purpose to execute. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, shoot the puck on net. Yeah, okay, sure. There's a little bit of puck luck involved in that one, but guess what? It hit nothing on the way through. This is the Leafs doing the right thing here tonight, shooting pucks, playing direct, playing with the purpose. Like, this is not puck luck. And Montembeault having an off night, whoop-de-doo. 7 goals and a complete no-show from your team for the last 40 minutes there to lead to 7 unanswered from this Leafs team. Monty having an off night. You're going to pin this one on Sam Montembeault for the last 40 minutes. The Leafs completely kicking the Montreal Canadiens' teeth in there and just saying, we're not going to lose. I mean, poor guy. You turn that thing around basically after the first period where you got your own asses handed to you and you said, enough's enough. We're going to kind of run it down your throats here. Dvorak hitting the crossbar, L Easy says. Okay, fair enough. Dvorak hitting the crossbar. Sure. Like, yeah, that was one play that happened in the first period there again. Another one would have been later on, a play that didn't end up getting a goal scored on, but if we want to look at, was Josh Anderson setting a pick on Fleet Myers that allows Mike Matheson to run his way through, and he gets in alone and gets a shot off on Joseph Wall. Like, there are lucky moments either way for people, things that got missed or things that got overlooked. So Montembeault was lucky on some saves. Yeah, the Leafs probably at that point in the second and third could have even scored more. Okay, we do have more super chats here for tonight, so I do want to make sure I get to these because I don't want these people to think I was burying them or forgetting about it or whatever it may have been. Let's get to our super chats. All right, So Sangnam. Jack Eye's hit early in the second resulted in 2 response hits from the Leafs. There was no need for Jack Eye to do it, and it was foolish to wake them up. I mean, I would disagree with there was no need for Jack Eye to do it. It was a hit. Like, it was a clean hit on Ryan Reaves. It was honestly an unbelievable hit. That being said, it did wake up the Maple Leafs. Like, if you're talking about the one at the end of the first period, yeah, that was a moment there where it was like, we could look at that one and maybe say it sparked them because he was looking at he was looking at the scoreboard saying, look at the score, and up 3-0, and then it turns around and you have 7 unanswered and you lose 7-3, and Arbor Jackeye finishes this game for the Habs here tonight at -1. Honestly, not that bad, but played 13 minutes and 41 seconds, the least of any Montreal defender here tonight. But, that could have been the moment. The hit, I don't think is like, what was he doing? That's just a big, good hit. But furthermore, it did wake the Leafs up, and it was a response that I'm proud of from this group because it was Austin Matthews hard on the forecheck. It's Bobby McMahon being engaged. Nick Robertson was going out there and throwing bodies and finishing checks. Pacioretty got engaged there as well. Like, watching these guys respond was pretty incredible, considering this is a group that for basically the last 10 to 15 games has been rather lifeless and out to lunch. So, I continue to watch that in the first period and say these guys are asleep, these guys want nothing to do with it, and then I watch where it flips over to in the second period and the way that they responded, and seeing your captain go out there finishing hits, making hard hits, getting the building going, because by the way, there was Go Leafs Go chants in Montreal here tonight. Like, that was a pretty electric bar and a pretty unbelievable atmosphere. But it's Austin Matthews, your captain, who does get involved, does get engaged physically, and starts to turn things around. I would just disagree saying him that it was like a dumb hit for Jackeye. Like, it's a hit. And if you had that opportunity, you take it 10 times out of 10. Another super chat. Greg McMullen. Thank you, Greg. Start like that in the playoffs, and it's a guaranteed loss. Well, Greg, I would 100% agree with you. Not even an inkling of disagreement. 100%. You play a real team that's not fraudulent and is going to make it to the playoffs there. You're going to get your teeth kicked in if you're down 3-0 and you show up that way right away. Like, you're just not going to be able to come back. It's so hard to score goals. It's so hard to find a way. And when everything tightens up defensively and it just means more to everybody, it's a lot harder to come back. It's a lot harder to score goals. And it's almost impossible to kind of overcome 3-goal deficits, especially once that happens in the first period. And in a away barn, let's also make that a point of emphasis here on this. If it's away and you're on the road, you're going to have a tough time no matter who you're playing, where it is, what's happening. So that will not be acceptable. Salil is upset here. He's still going on in the chat. 1979, 2021, and 2025. Can't wait. Also says Leafs lines in April. 8 tea time Matthews, Marner, Nylander. 8-10 Wall, Domi, Tavares. Don't forget to repair your divots, boys. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens, but at least they'll be 2 weeks late to the tee box for a bare minimum compared to where the Habs will be. So I'll put that one out there for you. But yeah, Greg, I mean, agree completely on that. So it's poor Salil. I agree completely, Greg. All right, we did hit 100 likes here on the show tonight. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching, subscribing. We're trying to get to 15,000 subscribers here on the channel. Like, that's the next goal. We got 14,000. Also, as well, all those super chats that are getting sent in there, for those wondering, for those who don't know, super chats here on the channel, I'll do this before I do this, all super chats here on the channel are going to an amazing cause here this season. And I mean, for those of you who know, the other day we did hit $220 donated to Sick Kids. Proceeds going to Sick Kids. They're donated here on the chat via super chats. If you want to get your comment or question featured on the show, hit us with a super chat. Proceeds from our super chat will go to Sick Kids, Canada's first children's hospital and a top research intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world. Every time you send a super chat, I will play the animation. I will read your comment. I will read your question, whatever it may be. You guys send those in. And if you want to do that, you want to send one, click the $sign within a live chat. You must be able to see the live chat. You select one of the following: a super sticker and the sticker pack, or you select a super chat and the amount by dragging the slider or typing the desired amount. You then click buy and send. You can put a message with that too if you choose. But $220 the other day. Sick Kids. Pretty awesome partnership we've got going on here. We hit 100 likes on the stream. We still got 250 people watching here live right now. That means we can at least get 150 more likes. Like, at least. If everyone watching hits that like button, we can at least get it, which would mean that we would get to 150, 200, and 250, and I have to do the smelling salts 3 more times. Entire pizza, Zack, take a shot at tequila with the smelling salts. Will not be doing that. And if you watch the show in the playoffs, based on how much you guys like to stream and how things go, I basically wouldn't get through the show. And I appreciate that, but I wouldn't get through the show if I made that a thing. So I won't make that a habit. All right, we hit 100 likes. Thank you, everyone. Here you go. Oh. Oh, making the eyes water. Keep liking the stream. Thank you, everybody. We'll do it one more time if we get to 150. Oh man, those ones burned. All right. Whew. Those ones burned. And I saw Salil making comments there in the chat about, golf, and we talked about that and the lines for the Leafs and getting out to the good weather. Well, if you're looking to get down to the good weather and get in the sun, you should be heading over to nationgear.ca. nationgear.ca, because March 20th to 23rd, we're packing our jerseys and heading to Nashville to watch Toronto take on Nashville in their own barn. We're talking hockey games. We're going to go see the Leafs and the Predators play live. You're going to be joining myself, Alberga, Rosie, Carter Hutton, producer Vic, Drake, down there in Nashville. We'll be watching a game. We'll be doing live podcasts, live reaction shows, all of that and much more, as well as we head over to Carter Hutton's bar, Love and Elixir. We're doing a wine tour. There's a lot of stuff planned down there in Nashville. Make sure to head on over to nationgear.ca, whether you're looking for flight packages or non-flight packages. We've got it all, so check it out today because it is going to be an absolute blast and something that you will not want to miss. That animation literally just sends me into the abyss every time. Like, I click it, no matter what I do, and it just goes nothing. Like, I'm gone. I'm gone forever. I can't even do anything about it. Gotta fix that. I don't even know how, though. I've tried like everything. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. All right, we got another super chat. Greg McMullen, amazing. Thank you so much for this. Greg McMullen sends $50. A massive super chat here on the show tonight. Gets this one in and says, "This one's for the sick kids. Take care." Greg, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the super chats from you here tonight and all the participation from everyone. Shinobi, smelling too much will burn your nasal passage. He's worried. I appreciate the concern. I think I'm okay. Rob B says, I'm trying to see. Rob B says, "What's on the agenda with this stream? Pick a hot topic." Rob B, we're talking Leafs Habs. That's the hot topic. We're talking Leafs Habs. Make sure to keep hitting that like button. 6 1/3 says the jar is empty. The jar is not empty, guy. You can see it in there. The smelling salts are in there. We're fine. The job's not empty. This K. 6 1/3. Zack is a method actor. I wish I was that good at acting. I really wish. I am not, unfortunately. I am not. All right, what else do I got here for the show tonight? And we'll get to some of the final topics. Did Zack hit the salt? Yes, I did. If we get to 150, we'll do it again, though. Let's see. Period. This is one thing I wanted to say. Timmins smoking Pizzetta. Matthews big hit there as well. I thought those were some awesome hits. It was Timmins I wanted to shout out because Timmins is a guy that I've kind of been a little bit critical of, I guess is the right word, in the last little while. Like that shift too started with, by the way, Joseph Woll almost scored on himself. Ryan Reaves gets obliterated. And then Connor Timmins attempts to take off Pizzetta's head. And then all of a sudden, the game is different. Like, we're just completely turned around. Everything's going Leafs' way, and they kind of brought the energy. Mike Fammy, I was kind of looking forward to another raging rant from Zack tonight. The Leafs went on to spoil that for me. Honestly, you were like this close, and you were this close as well to Alberga absolutely having his head pop off on Monday morning because he was unimpressed with this one as well, and then this thing turns around. And very much headed in a different direction for the Leafs here tonight, which I do appreciate. Zack could rag on Myers if he wanted to. I was writing an article. I was not kidding you. In the first period, I'm writing an article for tomorrow, and I gotta go back to the drawing board about Philippe Myers. I'm like, being impressed with this guy. Started strong. Like I'm hoping he's gonna have a good game here tonight because I can put this out and hold it in the holster, and we'll go back to the drawing board on that one. But I'm writing it, and then all of a sudden Myers is like getting rinsed, getting walked everywhere, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What is the point of all this? And I mean, you know what? Thankfully things ended up okay for the team. Because I thought at that point it was going to be a nightmare. You know what I should have done, though? Start the show like 30 minutes late. Because that was what the Leafs did here tonight. Let's get to a few other things for tonight. If I'm missing anything, send it in the chat. If I haven't, or Nick didn't talk about, or the combination of us didn't talk about, send it in the chat. I'll try to get to it if you have other questions, whatever it may be. I'm reading the chat here now live, seeing what's going on, and we'll see if we can get to anything else. But I want to get to a couple of other things. So let's first and foremost get to our best bet segment, which is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner in the Leafs Nation pregame and Leafs Nation after dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. That's code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365. Make sure to head on over to Bet365 today. And that is where we placed our best bet. We had a good night for ourselves here tonight. And we followed that up after the unbelievable performance from William Nylander the other night, where we bet on him to score a goal. We figured, you know what, Willie's a superstar. He's a guy who can find a way to get this done after the comments he made, and he scores 2 against the Devils, one being the overtime winner. We cashed the anytime goal for William Nylander at plus 210 the other night. Profits us 105. Bobby McMahon here tonight. We go a half unit on $50 at plus 400. That's what we'll talk about after this Bet365. Bobby McMahon, plus 400, or during this, I guess. That profits us $200. And just like that, we went from down 4.93 units on the season to down 0.93 units on the season. Amazing how quickly you can turn things around with a couple of victories, especially when you're taking some of these longer shots. But that is a win. Back-to-back nights for us here. 6 1/3. I don't know if your house pet is doing that there, buddy, and beating me on those. That is another win for us here on the postgame show. Plus 400 cash. Plus 400 cash. Let's talk about this while we're in this, because this is a win, and this is one of those things where it's like a lot of times I talk about process over result. I think that's a concept that should be kind of used and leaned on and discussed when we're talking about, power plays. It's something we should be talking about with the Leafs when we're talking about wins and losses. Did you play well, but you lost? Okay, can we get over that? Did you win and you played the wrong way? Maybe there's some things that we need to improve, and those are conversation points. It's also something in betting. The bet lost, but did you make the right kind of bet? And I think we did here tonight, even if he didn't score, especially based on the way that he was playing there in the second period. I think Bobby McMahon, after 40 minutes, is the Leafs' best player. I think in a slow, sloppy first period, he was the one guy that continued to stick out to me, and I looked at and was like, you know what? Bobby McMahon here tonight has at least showed up. He gets an opportunity to jump up into the top 6. He gets an opportunity to join that second line alongside William Nylander, who I thought was going to, turn this thing around, especially after the night he had against the Devils. And he did in the second and the third period. In the first period, I think he was sleeping a little bit. But Bobby McMahon was out of his mind here tonight. Hard on the forecheck, winning battles, winning races. He looked good when he was shooting the puck. He looked dangerous every time he was crossing over the blue line in the offensive zone. He looked pretty defensively responsible here tonight. And it was something that I kept looking at for McMahon, and I was thinking, you know what? If Bobby McMahon plays this way throughout the rest of the time, and Bobby McMahon can find a way to be on this trajectory of being one of the best players on the ice for the Leafs here tonight, even though he doesn't show up on the expected goals chart of having one of the higher end expected goals for the Leafs, I think we've made a good bet with Bobby McMahon. And ultimately, I do think that kind of comes to fruition for Bobby, even though he finishes with more expected goals against than for. But I thought McMahon was great, and from an energy perspective, from an engagement perspective, he was awesome. So kudos to Bobby McMahon, and ultimately ends up getting us to cash that best bet here tonight. Let me see. What else we got in the chat? 6 1/3. My house pet bought some Trump crypto and will be feeding me now. Okay, fair enough. You know what? I apologize. Where are we at? Comatose. Yarn Croak is skating again. Someone is going to have to go to activate him. Yeah, I mean, that'll be an interesting situation. I imagine he's going to be skating for a while before they bring him back. But for right now, yeah, he's getting ready to go. And that'll be another interesting addition to your bottom 6. And I'd be curious to see how and where he fits in, because I don't think the fan base is happy with the bottom 6 right now. I don't think Tree Living or Berube is happy with the bottom 6, and I think we kind of see a reflection of that with the rotation of Robertson, Holmberg, Pacioretty. McMahon has solidified himself. Domi's obviously solidified himself, but Dewar, those guys are in and out of this lineup. Reaves, they're in and out more than you could even imagine at this point. So Yeah, I think you're going to look for some stability in there and guys that you can rely on a nightly basis. It's great to have competition. I do always kind of push that and say, hey, having more and guys that fight each other for spots and feel pressure is one thing, but you would like someone to grab a hold of that role, and maybe it's Kyle Yarncroke. Maybe he's a guy who comes back and fits in, and all of a sudden he can take it and he can hold on to that position. Let's get to a couple more things before we wrap up the show here tonight. Again, very much appreciate everyone who's tuned in, who has commented, sent super chats, liked the stream. We are 25 likes away from doing the smelling salts again, and still over 200 people watching the show here right now. So keep liking, keep commenting, keep sending questions and thoughts. We're going to get to a few that I want to include you guys on and know where you guys are at in this game. Let's get to our play of the game. CJ says, I like advanced stats, but come on, LOL. And he's talking about the Ryan Reaves expected goals. Yeah, Nick and I talked about that one earlier in the day and where we were at on what the hell was going on with some of these expected goals charts tonight and all that stuff. I do like expected goals, and I appreciate all the advanced stats. This is one here tonight where you got to kind of almost wonder if the chart is drunk. You know, is it the chart? Is it the Excel sheet? Or is it the guy inputting the numbers? Because the way that this happened to play out is kind of outrageous to me. I mean, looking at, you know, who's at the top of the chart here. David Kampf had the most expected goals for the Leafs. Okay. Where Ryan Reaves, most expected goals for percentage. Like, what? What? And like, watching some of that is like, okay, I guess. But you know what? This is one where I can almost kind of look at that and say, I don't know. I even look at Money Puck and it's like, for tonight here, the Leafs the Leafs lost on the deserve to win meter. If you watched basically like 5 minutes into the second period to the end of the second period to the third period, I get that a lot of this is based on the actual expected goals and like chances created, but if you watch the play and how things were dictated, that was a lot of Leafs a lot of the rest of the way. It felt like they were carried momentum there in that one and kind of just never let it go. Anyways, back to the play of the game. I want to know what you guys are thinking on this one. So I want to kind of point this out early on. Where did I put this? It is 1-0 Habs. Caufield gets a backdoor chance and Wall robs him to keep it a 1-goal game. Could be potential play of the game is what I wrote. Then there was in the second period, another save by Wall. Could be play of the game. Another save. Could be play of the game. Third period. Could be play of the game. And then here's what I wrote at the end. All caps. Wall. Describe the save. Wall again. Describe the save. Oh my God, Joseph Wall again. 3 in a row. And then above that, there are 2 others where I wrote Joseph Wall. I'm just going to give the whole game to Joseph Wall. But I'm going to give the specific play of the game above all else. The save, the stick save. When he's diving across and it's Suzuki on the back door. He's got an empty net, and Joseph Wall dives across to keep that one 6-3. There was enough time left in the game. It could have been 6-4. That building could get on their feet. You could get some excitement, and that thing could have collapsed for this Leafs team. It's lucky, as Salil was saying, ooh, puck luck. Joseph Wall got lucky. Ooh. You got to be good to be lucky, and you got to be lucky to be good. And Joseph Wall dives across and makes that save. It hits his stick, keeps that thing out, and keeps it a 3-goal game for this Maple Leafs team, who then go on to win 7-3. Joseph Wall was out of his mind. The first period, he kept that thing from being 5-6-0. Late in the third period, I mean, there were saves in the second period, but late third period there especially, he kept that thing where it was allowing the Leafs to go up and hold the lead without they had gained there 4-3. He allows that one to then be, well, they were down, also, by the way, to start. They're 24 seconds in, and then it's like, okay, we tied it, we're making saves. We got a lead, we're making saves. Now we're up by 2, we're up by 3, we're up by 4. I'm still making saves, and big ones at that. Joseph Woll gets the biggest star of all here tonight for his play. He was unbelievable. Kudos to Joseph Woll for that performance here tonight. Also, I want to give an honorable mention here quickly to 2 things. One, William Nylander. Nylander, his goal that he scored 24 seconds into the third period obviously gives this Leafs team a jolt. It's a good play in the defensive zone by that line to break up the play, and then it's Nylander off to the races. And I don't know if I've said this yet, or Nick Alberga said this yet, but William Nylander makes Laine Hutson look like a little boy and just shrugs him off and says, get off me. You're not going to touch me because I'm a fucking superstar and I'm going to score this goal if I want. And then he puts Sam Montembeault in the corner, and rumor has it he's still looking for his jock here tonight. Unreal goal. Unreal move, great play, great blocking off by William Nylander to get that one in on the breakaway and finish that to tie the game. Another one that I want to credit him for is the penalty that Dvorak took. That was basically Nylander just skating around the zone and saying, I'm not going to be stopped. Takes a strong move to the net, goes to the net, and Dvorak wraps him up. That leads to the 4-3 goal, which I think is important because Nylander gets the tying goal. Then he makes the play that leads to the 4th goal to go up, which is scored by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. By the way, don't look now, and I don't want to get too mad about it, but don't tell anybody that you saw the second unit scored both of the goals tonight for the power play. They were 2 for 4, and it was only the second unit. Don't look now, though. Anyways, Oliver Ekman-Larsson scores off the face-off. Max Pacioretty deserves a ton of credit for that goal, too, because Pacioretty off the draw goes to the net hard, gets to the front, creates havoc in front, creates a screen. Montembeault never sees that one, gets out of the way of the puck, and it gets in past Montembeault there to take the lead in that game. So, there's just all things around basically from the second to the third period from this group that I think deserved so much love, so much credit, so much appreciation. And the fight back was outrageous by these guys. And then the other thing I would shout out is Auston Matthews, the goal. That's a 5-3 goal from your superstar to make it 2-goal lead in Montreal. That place was rocking until then. He turns around. He's got the big celly. He's screaming. I don't know what the hell he was saying. I need a lip reader to give me that. And he just kind of, it was like you want that from your big boys. It's Nylander who ties it, and then it's Auston Matthews who is able to kind of give that one like the dagger from like long range. Laine Hutson guarding him there, sags off. Auston Matthews gets open, rips a one-timer, beats Montembeault, Selly. It was awesome. Okay. Last thing here to get to, grade of the game. I want to know what you guys are going to say. I want to see where you're at. Super Sim says he said fucking right. I hope so, and I was saying that as well. But keep hitting that like button. We'll see if we can get to one more smelling salts, the third of the night here. Let's get to our grades of the game. You guys send them in the chat. I'll also react to what you guys are saying. But grade of the game for me is going to be... I feel like this is a no-win situation. I'm going to say an A-. It's like I can't quite get to the A because that first period was so atrocious. So atrocious. Like, people are saying A's, and I understand if you want to give an A. I'm like kind of in the A-, because the first period to show up like that in Montreal was so pathetic. Like, people are saying B's there, and I get that, and I'm not too far off, but so saying, I'm saying, this is where I disagree. Saying B, no team should get an A if they go down 0-3. The thing is, if you watch the second and third period alone, like, that was one of the most dominant efforts from this team, and battle back and showing resilience and not giving up and not saying quit. to come back and score 7 unanswered against the red-hot Montreal Canadiens team who came into this one, I think as Nick said, winning 11 of their last 14. And 6-4-7 diecast, play like that in the playoffs, and you won't get far. B, I agree, but we got to look at full body of work here. Joseph Woll, just an incredible performance from the guy tonight to find a way for this Leafs team and get them this win. You know, finishes the night here with a 914 save percentage, some massive monster saves, 32 saves on 35 shots. You look at the power play, they go 2 for 4. Whether it's the first unit or the second unit, they go 2 for 4. The Habs power play goes 1 for 5. Your penalty kill feels like it's back there. There's a lot of positive from the second and the third. So kudos to them for finding a way. And I mean, you couldn't be more happy walking away as a Leafs fan against a rivalry night against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal with a 7-3 victory that sees 7 consecutive. That'll do it for me here on the show tonight. Thank you to everyone who's watched, liked, subscribed. If you haven't yet, do so now before we end this one off. But I appreciate you all for tuning in. This one finishes off 11:20 p.m. Eastern on a Saturday night. If you guys are going out to enjoy yourselves after this one, make sure to head on out to Greta Bar, YYZ, 590 King Street West. And if you're sitting on your couches watching and maybe you've won a couple of bets over at Bet365 with our William Nylander anytime goal and you won Bobby McMahon anytime goal. And I think in the game preview, I actually said maybe William Nylander anytime goal in this one as well. It would be sprinkling on. So maybe people dove in on that as well. Maybe you got a little bit of extra spare change in your pocket and you want to go down to Nashville to catch a game. nationgear.ca to sign up there. Thanks everyone for watching. That's going to do it for me here tonight. This has been game number 47 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, winning this one 7-3 against the Montreal Canadiens and moving to 29-16-2 on the year. Thanks as always. I will catch everyone back here Monday night following the game against the Tampa Bay Lightning for another edition of the Amazon Prime post-game show. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you guys then. Amazon Prime is playing the game. We're not doing anything with them. Let's clarify that quickly. But I realized the way I said that came across dumb. Yeah, we'll be back following the Amazon Prime game from the Maple Leafs. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.